2020 may have been a dumpster fire for the entire world, but it was a great one for Among Us devs Innersloth. Originally released in 2018, Among Us blew up in 2020 thanks to the quarantine and frequent updates. While the team was working on a sequel to the game, they've scrapped it in favor of updating the original game, a smart move. So with a brand new year, we're taking a look at 10 things we want to see in Among Us in 2021. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe, otherwise you won't be an imposter for the next 5 games. Just do it. PlayStation support. So recently, Among Us launched on the Nintendo Switch and is going to be available on the Xbox series of consoles relatively soon. It's awesome that console players get to play the fantastic game on the big screen, but Innersloth is missing out on a huge console base. PlayStation! Seriously, PlayStation has way more users than both the Switch and Xbox consoles, so it's a no-brainer that Innersloth would want to set up shop with Sony. However, at this point, Innersloth hasn't revealed if they're working on a PlayStation port of the game. As PlayStation players ourselves, we'd love to see the game end up on our consoles. Because let's be honest, playing on your phone just doesn't compare to playing on the big screen. Speaking of consoles, let's chat about something integral to the console experience: in-game voice chat. Among Us is one of those games that just gets better if you're actually chatting with people, as opposed to typing stuff out. The detective aspect of the game really shines when you're in a Discord chat with other players, but man, it's a drag to corral players together on Discord. This is why Among Us really needs in-game voice chat to make the gaming experience way smoother and accessible. For those of us who aren't playing with friends, having in-game voice chat can make the game way more fun. Plus, it can introduce us to a brand new player that we can play with next time. It'd be cool if the in-game voice chat was also proximity-based, so we could hear folks talking who were near us. Speaking of people near us, we'd love to make some new friends. A friend system. Among Us, as it currently stands, is pretty bare bones, and it doesn't have any quality of life features like a friend system. If you want to play a game with friends, you have to go old school and send out a room key. It's a tried and tested system, yeah, but it's also very old and can be confusing at times. This is why we think Among Us really needs a friend system in the coming year. This will also make it super easy to become friends with people you don't know, as all you have to do is just send a friend request. A feature like this could also be a great way to join a lobby a friend is already in without having to necessarily communicate with them beforehand. But okay, that's just for friends. Our next thing we want is for our enemies. Reporting players. In theory, Among Us is supposed to be a fun whodunit game, but sometimes people can take the game a bit too far. This is why we're really hoping the game gives us the option to report players, because sometimes things can get just a little nasty or annoying. We know the Innersloth team is working on a feature like this, so hopefully it gets implemented soon, as it can be really annoying to deal with a player who's either just being mean or too busy trolling to play the game. With a report button, we'll be able to play games without having to deal with some jerks. Now, if we only had some different modes to play. Dedicated game modes. So the standard Among Us game mode is fun enough as it is, and it's also pretty simple. However, it can get stale over time. Luckily, people didn't just jump in from the game once it got boring. Oh no, they started to make new game modes, like hide and seek. Unfortunately, to get different game modes going, you need tons of coordination and rule explaining. We're hoping that in 2021, Innersloth releases different game modes that we can choose right from the menu, like hide and seek. Not only would different game modes add to the longevity of the game, but it'd also make the game way more refreshing. We can only imagine what insane and innovative game modes the devs come up with. Now, if only we could change the way we looked. Skins. So as it stands, you can't really change your character's skin, and most of the customization options are really basic. we'd love it if in 2021 the devs really focused on making the cosmetics more unique and exciting. Fortnite did a bang-up job of having tie-in skins with the likes of Marvel and Star Wars, so we'd really like to see that level of customability in the game. Plus, more options would make the Among Us devs a boatload of cash, as the game is either free to play or cheap to purchase depending on your platform. Hopefully, we'll see more skins in the near future, though it isn't as much of a priority as new maps. More maps. We know, Innersloth is hard at work on the new Henry Stickmin themed map, but we'd love to see them double down on the creation of new maps. One of the biggest flaws of Among Us is that it can get stale rather quickly, mostly because you're playing on the same maps. With the game more popular and development more streamlined than ever, we really hope that 2021 is filled with consistent map drops. And we really don't mind shilling out extra dollars for the maps, as the amount of work that goes into them is amazing already. The truth is, we just want more of what we love from the team, and we'd love to support them as much as we can. Before we move on to the top 3 things Among Us needs in 2021, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're loving the video, don't forget to hit that notification button. All right, on to number 3. More players. So a while back, we talked about a mod that allowed a 100-player match. As insane as 100 players is, we'd be fine if Innersloth added more players into the mix. Maybe max 15 or 20. Sometimes games end in like 3 minutes, which is really disappointing. Plus, things can get really obvious when there are only 3 or 4 players left in the game. We'd love to see more players added into the game, so we can have a longer and more interesting match. Imagine how chaotic a match would be if there were only 3 imposters, but 17 crewmates. Hopefully, Innersloth will add more players in a coming update. Speaking of updates, how about one that makes the game even more intense? Hiding bodies. Okay, we get that this one could be pretty hard to implement, but hear us out. What if you could hide bodies in vents? Like your character physically had to drag them to a vent, making you way slower. Not only would it be more difficult for the imposter because they could get caught red-handed, but also way more rewarding if they managed to do it, because then there would be no proof at all. It would definitely make games more intense and more suspicious, as dead bodies would just naturally disappear over time with no tangible proof. It's just one of those small features that could make the game way more anxiety-inducing. But to be fair, this may not be a feature that everybody wants, but our next one certainly is. More roles. As it stands, there are only 2 roles in Among Us, Imposter and Crewmate, and they're fantastic roles, but we'd love to see more get rolled out in the new year. They could even be sub-roles, such as Crewmate having the ability to figure out someone's identity at the end of every round, or an Imposter who can only kill someone every 2 rounds, or even a Doctor who's able to bring a dead player back to life. The possibilities are endless, and having more roles would make the game similar to Werewolf or Mafia, games that inspired Among Us. Variety would allow each game to be way different and make each match stand out more. The future is brighter than ever for Among Us, and we really hope that Innersloth takes the time it needs to make the game even more fun and exciting. Comment below and let us know what you want to see in Among Us in 2021. And if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you loved it, hit that notification button. It really helps us out. Alright, see you next time on GamePlanet.